So now we're going to make a selection and grab our bat wings and bring it over to our horse image. Let me just save our horse image that we've got. Oops. And come back to the bat wings. Now again, I'm going to try using just the quick selection tool. And in Photoshop, it's always a good idea to try the fastest tool first and then pare back if you need to. No point in creating more work for yourself. And in this instance, it's done a pretty good job of selecting what I want. There's a few areas there that will need to be just touched up when we bring it across. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to making sure that I've got, no, I'm doing my refine layer mask or my refine edge mask in this image file. So select and mask. Let's go to onion skin again. Just increase our transparency. And this time we're just going to look using the smart radius, I think. Actually, I want to see it as an overlay. See what it looks like. And let's just play around with the edge detection so you can see what's happening when I go increase the radius over on this side of the wing. I'm starting to lose all those areas there, so let's just bring it back. And I always try using the extremes on both edges just to see the impact of the tool as I'm using it. And let's just try turning smart radius on, see if that's going to give us, yeah, it adds it in a little bit there. Let's just add into that section, and you've got a quick add tool here, so let's just try adding that back in and that back in. And again here, let's just, oops. My finger slipped on the mouse there. Adding a whole lot more stuff that I didn't want, so you could always undo that, or yes, it's just bumping around for some reason. Oh, I've got the had the mouse cord sitting underneath the mouse. Just painting that back out. Let me just swap and go back into this and make sure that I haven't put transparency on any of those edges that I really want. I can get rid of this little section here. And if we view it on white, I can see what's going on there. So you can see I've still got all that in there, which I don't really want. But I'm thinking it might be easy just to remove that in a mask when we take our image over and use the mask tool. Let me just fix this little edge down here. Just to add that in, and I'll fix that up when we take it across into Photoshop, into our other Photoshop file. So I'm pretty happy with that, so I'm going to output that as a new layer with layer mask and say OK. And there's my layer mask there and my layer. And to drag that across, I'm just going to drag that image off the taskbar and then click on the layer and drag that layer across into my horse and then close that down. Now I don't need that anymore. And zoom out, and I just need to drag that back onto the page. Now I actually need to make my canvas a little larger to fit my wings, so I'm going to go into image, canvas size, and I just want to increase the size from the top, so I'll just create the height there of let's make it 250 mils and say OK. Okay, so now I've got enough space for my secondary wing. And what I want to do is I'm just going to move that layer up just so I can get rid of any unwanted residue from that bat wing. And let me just refill that all with pink. Come back up to my bat and the mask that's on it, go into the brush tool. Now remember, I can toggle between the white and black here, and that will rub in or add in and take away. So make sure that you've got the mask for the image selected itself. Whoops, no, that's the wrong one. X to bring black to the foreground. Let me just increase the flow here because I need quite a... Now the bonus of using these non-destructive layer masks is at any time, whoops, X, just a little bit out of control there. At any time, I can actually paint the image back in, or I can paint sections of it out, and you can see I can be quite rough, I guess is the word to use. But what I like to do is kind of like to paint on and then paint off. So I toggle between the black and the white to bring the image in, and then obviously I work with the different hardnesses of the brush to add and eliminate sections as I want. And of course you'll find your own methodology for doing that. X again, because I took a little bit out there. I want to add back in. X, and you can see at the level, I'm at pixel level, adjusting individual pixels and adding individual pixels in and out. I want to get rid of this stuff all down here. Oops, wrong way. Undo, X. And I can very neatly add in and take away. And the thing is if you want a nice soft edge somewhere, then you can just reduce your opacity or the flow up here in the controls. And I can't really see what I'm doing here at the moment, so I'm going to have to zoom out and just take a look. I think I've either taking away too much, but you can see I'm just adding in. Now this is the area where it's going to be blending into the horse's back, so I'm just going to leave that. But you can see now I've got a nice smooth edge for my bat wing. And let me just turn my horse back on. Now I just need to, I'll leave that on for the moment because it helps me to see. So now I just want to work with this. Now you can actually eliminate that layer there. So let's just turn off those layers, and again, Control Shift Alt E. Oh, Control Shift Alt. What have I got? Control Shift Alt. No, it's not going to give me a new layer like that. I must be doing something wrong. Merge visible. Maybe if I create another blank layer, it might allow me to merge visible. Okay, so yeah, some reason I needed another layer to do that. Anyway, so we've got our bat wing. Now I'm just going to, the next thing I'm going to do, turn my horse layer back on, and obviously I need to reposition and resize that wing to make it work with the horse itself. So to do that I'm going to use the free transform, so Control T. And I want this towards the inside, so I need to flip that first. So let's right click, flip horizontal. And I'm actually pretty happy with the angle of that. I just need to resize it slightly. Or do I need to resize it? Yeah, probably a little bit. Let's just resize it a little bit and position it roughly where we want it. And that looks about right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a new layer mask onto that little bat wing and zoom up, grab my brush tool. I'm just going to reduce my opacity and my flow down. and enlarge the brush up. And I'm going to start, make sure you've got your layer. I'm just going to start eliminating the edge of the bat wing to try and blend it in with the horse. So first up, I'm just going to smooth these edges. I don't want these strong edges, and I definitely don't want that little bit there. But I want to keep some of that textural sections, because those textural sections are quite cool. So at the moment I'm just doing a rough job. If I turn this on, you can see what's happening as I'm brushing on and off. Let's just turn that back off. But what I'm aiming for is to blend this with the horse. So I'm just using sort of quick click and drags and just going over those edges to give my first rough. Then I'm going to reduce my flow right down and then start zooming in and start working to really get a nice blended edge on these. Whoops, just a little bit too far. So that there is kind of a transition between the texture, original texture of the horse and that of the batwing. And where I want more transition, I'm just going over a little bit more of the object itself and kind of using the contours of the horse itself. Now I just want to soften that edge just a little bit here, so it doesn't kind of stand out as much as it is at the moment, so that it looks a little bit more blended with my horse there. Let's just zoom out and see what's happening there. So now I'm getting this like really nice texture of the wing across the horse's back here. And I just want to do the same with that little bit here, so it kind of follows that round. And I'm pretty happy with that for my first wing. Now, one of the things that I didn't like about the wind is I've lost all of the image there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the original photo. Now again, you probably should duplicate that layer so you're not working on the only copy you have. You don't have to redo that. And I'm going to go into my burn tool. Oops, that's not my burn tool. I've lost my burn tool. It's here somewhere. Oh, there. And again, I'm on highlights. I've reduced the exposure. I'm going to reduce that even more. And I'm just going to go over that real bright section there just to try and bring that in. Let's just go into the mid-tones here, darken it up as well there. Zoom out, let's have a look and see how we're going. Now I also want to just do those mid-tones there and maybe just a little bit of the highlight. So again, bring that right back just to 5%. I'm just going to increase the size of my brush. To go over that edge. Great. So now I've got that wing in position and I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to duplicate that and then I'm going to go Control T, and again I'm going to actually I need my horse back on, so just let me turn the horse back on. I don't want that, I want the horse. And I just want to move that. And then I want to slightly change the angle so that it's as though it's in a different position. And then obviously I want to drop that behind because that's going to be behind the horse itself. So this is the front one. So let's turn the front one off for a minute. And obviously I need to get rid of where it should be sitting behind the horse. I might even be able to drop it behind the horse. Let's just have a look. Great, now let's turn our other layer back on. And we've got our horse with our bat wings. Let's, to finalize that, let's just create a duplicate layer of them all merged together. Control Shift Alt E. And I now have the horse without a background that I can work on with my crest in Illustrator.